Thank you for joining us today. My name is Sharmeen and I am part of Cyber Blitz. We are here to crack the Vavavoom case study. To begin, Vavavoom is an established petroleum company that's been facing some internal and external challenges over the past 20 years. These include poor investment into the maintenance of the company's infrastructure, systems reaching end of life, with those who originally programmed the apps retiring. Lastly, there's pandemics, environmental concerns, and growing global competition. Right when they thought it couldn't get any worse, one day they had their biggest challenge face them. Some employees got a payroll verification email. While some reported it as phishing, others continued and put in their information. Within an hour, there was a confirmation of a malware attack. Soon, it spread through the systems that were unpatched, spreading all throughout the vulnerability. Within time, all databases and systems, including the fail-safe system for the oil rigs, was locked. Within 5 minutes, CNN began calling the CISO and the FBI began calling the CEO. At this moment, we knew that something critical had occurred. Now, Nuzaila is going to explain the deep-rooted problems in the company that have led to this cyber attack to occur.
There are numerous problems in the case study. However, 4 of them were repeatedly highlighted. Number 1, outdated/unpatched security systems and infrastructure. By unpatched, we mean software systems that had vulnerabilities in its code and the company was aware of it. Number 2, no backups because original programmers have already retired. Number 3, unsecured end-user devices. Number 4, despite having highly trained individuals, the IT team was unsuccessful in preventing attacks because they had limited budget towards infrastructure maintenance. Now, I'll pass it on to Thomas to talk about NIST.
Vavavoom operates its 3 oil rigs in a turbulent business environment. With limited resources and funds, the company is falling behind in many of its crucial IT aspects. Although they have perimeter defenses in place, including endpoint protection, an external pen test program, and user awareness training, there is a flaw in their NIST framework that allowed a cybersecurity threat to infiltrate the defenses. This security hole could stem from problems addressed earlier, such as unpatched systems or end-of-life software. The IT team was qualified enough, yet the existing system was not ready to adopt the latest technology. This left them unable to respond and recover in time. These issues should have been addressed early on to prevent future attacks. However, they failed to do so in time. Even though Vavavoom had a valid cybersecurity plan, their inability to keep up to date with cybersecurity protocol allowed them to fall victim to a phishing email. Although updating the system is an option, the more efficient action will be to replace the systems because they have reached end of life. As a result of the cybersecurity attack, Vavavoom must respond and recover. Following our own analysis of the company's NIST framework, we have proposed our own solutions that the company can use to modify their current plan. Assuming they have replaced the end-of-life systems, the following can be implemented. Now Nuzaila will discuss our proposed solutions.
The 4 solutions are as follows. Number 1, conduct a company-wide incident review. Number 2, implement endpoint security. Number 3, implement multi-factor authentication. Number 4, implement email sandbox. One of the first solutions is to conduct a company-wide incident review. The company should ask questions like, who clicked the link? Who has administrative access? How did the malware spread? How long did it take for the IT team to detect the malware? Through these questions, they can generate the report. By doing so, management and employees will have a better understanding of Vavavoom's vulnerabilities and correct them accordingly. Now, Ashraful will talk about the other solutions.
To prevent malware attacks, Microsoft released a patch to fix a few months before the incident happened, but Vavavoom only had 50% patched and the rest were unpatched. Therefore, the second proposed solution we have for Vavavoom is to implement endpoint security. In order to prevent hackers from accessing desktop and spreading across network, they could implement following actions to have better security. Operating system security patches should be installed as soon as they're available. Remove administrative access on endpoints. Implement browser isolation. By implementing the browser isolation, the isolated browser will execute the media stream in safe isolated environment away from the user device. After reading through the website code, it will then isolate away anything it finds to be malicious and only retrieve back safe media stream. Our third recommended solution is multi-factor authentication. Vavavoom should use multi-factor authentication as an additional layer of security for all users' account that will provide greater protection than using only password authentication to prevent hackers from gaining access. As multi-factor authentication, they can use biometrics, soft tokens, security question, etc. Our final proposed solution is email sandboxing. It will provide an added layer of protection in which any email that passes the email filter and still contain unknown URL links, file types, or suspicious senders can be tested before they reach your network or mail server. Now I will pass it over to Mohsin to talk about constraint in executing solution.
To implement these proposed solutions, there are some organizational constraints. Number one, limited budget. As we know from the case, the owner have struggled to invest a modest amount of profit into the maintenance. It is hard for the management to allocate a good portion of their budget to have a better IT security. Number two, unaware employees with administrative access. Sometimes hacker can use bad code in email attachment or when downloading a software. Unaware employees usually click on those links and the virus spread all over the network because of their administrative access. As a result, the company should be mindful of who is having access to what. Number three, identifying extent of damage. As we know, there are countless variations of ransomware that all have various devastating effects. It is hard for the company to figure out what type of ransomware was it and how much damage it may have caused. Now Rida will talk on next slide.
The way the company's public relations is handled directly affects how the image of Vavavoom is perceived by everyone after this attack. We know the story will make headlines through multiple news outlets as the public will think that Vavavoom doesn't prioritize the safety and privacy of their employees. The first step to best handle the situation would be to have an experienced individual tackle all the media outlets. This will ensure consistency with the information that the company is putting out to the public. We also want to have transparency with news outlets and tell them exactly what happened and how it was handled. We want to avoid rumors and false information from spreading. Next, we want to make a public and the vendors aware of what happened by publishing on the website and sending out an email. A formal public apology should be put out by the company to reassure everyone that the proper steps have been taken to avoid a future incident from occurring. Now Nuzaila will talk about the legal implications.
There are various legal structures in place that can assist Vavavoom. Vavavoom can use the DHS Cyber Hunt and Incident Response Teams Act of 2019. This act provides federal/private entities with government teams that can help companies recover from and prevent cyber attacks. Vavavoom can also use the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015. Companies like Vavavoom under this act can voluntarily share data to better anticipate cyber threats and prevent such attacks. Vavavoom can also use the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, under which courts can prosecute the threat actor to 10 years of prison for first offenders and 20 years for repeated offenders. Now Mohsin will talk about the timeline of actions.
Major breach should always be reported to law enforcement. The Federal Trade Commission published a guide for responding to data breaches. One of the first steps after cyber attack is to consult with legal counsel and immediately verify information about unpatched data. Once the incident is reported, the law enforcement agency may contact the media and ensure that sensitive information is not disclosed. Hiring external software companies will help company effectively implement endpoint security. To increase the funding, the company may take out a loan, ask an investor to improve overall IT security. Following the resolution of this entire event, company needs to revise its cybersecurity training and make it mandatory for all employees. Now Sharmin will talk on next slide.
Following is a summary of the recommendations. So everything could have been prevented in the first place if there was early remediation of the infrastructure weaknesses that existed, as well as more funding directed towards the IT and cybersecurity. However, we can't go back now, and we have to implement solutions like endpoint security, multi-factor authentication, and email sandboxing. To repair the proposed damage occurred, they should report the attack to government agencies and seek help from software companies who can provide additional security. To ensure public image is saved, a marketing strategy needs to be established to show that Vavavoom cares about their actions. If Vavavoom follows our recommendation, we are sure they can get back up from this event and come out stronger as they have for the past decades. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and we hope you enjoyed. Thank you.